Hello, remarkable community. During this holiday period, I'm sending all my warmest wishes. I want to do a small, what shall we call it? A small experiment in democratic empathy with you. I think a lot of you would have seen Zelensky's speech. And I think that those of you who haven't would have seen little extracts. If you want to watch it, Jake Bro shared it on his channel with subtitles. What I think is absolutely essential is that you've got to be able to understand what an experience that has a certain meaning for you means for somebody who is very different to you, who might be your opponent politically. So let's cartoonishly put ourselves into the head of somebody who is a committed Trump voter, who is very skeptical of this whole enterprise in Ukraine and who heard this speech. To that person, that speech and the fact that Zelensky was welcome to make it would have felt, may have felt, like the incarnation of political betrayal and political evil. It's very important to go there and feel that. So let's try to do this. What I'm going to do is just tell you for a couple of minutes how I understand the pathologies of mistrust in Western societies. And then I'll tell you, if I were writing Zelensky's speech, what I would have added into it that he didn't say. I think there are 4 pathologies of mistrust in Western societies that are palpable. The first pathology says, I just don't think my government is competent. And that makes you feel, the feeling that goes with this sort of suspicion is being unsafe. I think that's the most benign pathology. The next pathology up, if you like, in terms of seriousness, how much we have to worry if people feel like that in terms of the implications for our democracy. But the second pathology up from that says, I feel that my government is working against me. I feel that they're prioritizing others. For example, outsiders who are real outsiders, who are outside of my country, or sort of notional outsiders, people who are in my country but who I regard as outsiders. And the idea is, my word, these people are prioritizing them over me. And the emotion that goes with that is betrayal. I feel betrayed. Then one level up is a pathology that I call, well, I don't know what I call it, but it's the feeling that there is nothing you can do at all that can even a little bit inflect where the politics in your country is going, that you have no efficacy at all as a citizen. You perceive yourself to have no efficacy. And that creates a feeling of powerlessness as a citizen, just sort of turning the wheel of a vehicle, but seeing that, turning the steering wheel of a vehicle, but seeing that nothing happens in response. The car just keeps on going as it was going before. And that, combined with the feeling of being betrayed, is already a very significant, very scary thing. Right? It's a very scary deformation of trust. But then I think there is the 4th pathology of trust, which is the worst of all. And that's the one that I do think is, with a good degree of cultural virality, breaking out in our societies. And that pathology says, look, it's not just that these guys might be incompetent or that they're betraying me or that I'm powerless to influence any of this. It's that this thing I'm looking upon, the political scene in my country, just doesn't make sense anymore. I can't even see it clearly. It's incoherent to me. It's like, and you've heard me say this before, watching several games of sport all rolled into one. You're seeing footballs, tennis rackets, but it's not clear what the game is or how it even makes sense and why anybody would want to keep it. And that is what my extraordinarily beautiful old generation colleague Charles Taylor calls opacity. I steal that word from him. It's when you look upon your political processes, institutions, and they just look opaque to you. And I think that the emotion that goes with opacity, this perception of opacity of your political system, is the feeling of being lost. And I think that's worse than being betrayed. That's worse than being powerless, because that cuts right into your sense of the legitimacy of these institutions. Because it's not that, you've got some traitors there. Well, maybe you could get the traitors out, It's not that you've got a situation where you can't influence this. Maybe there's something going to happen in the future which will allow you to influence it. But the whole thing no longer makes sense, And then when you are yourself occupying a post-truth bubble, it's impossible to get out of this perception that you feel lost and the whole of politics looks opaque to you. So how do citizens who feel pathologies 2, 3, and 4 strongly and who are skeptical of this enterprise of supporting Ukraine, how would they feel, Here is, Mr. Proxy War being delivered, into the heart of our democracy, supposedly. And he's got so much money from us, and he wants more for some conflict far away. And the first feeling I have is that this damn situation deprioritizes me, prioritizes some kind of actor chap from some kind of other country that's been attacked over me, to the tune of billions upon billions, but also to the tune of the moral attention, of my government. So I am being deprioritized, and my government is prioritizing these damn outsiders over me. That's betrayal, but a government shouldn't do that. Why would it do that? Only an evil government would do that. Is sheer evil to deprioritize me and prioritize these others. And then we move to the pathology of not just feeling powerless and betrayed by being lost. Why would they do that? And post-truth and conspiratorial explanations begin to make sense. Why would they? I don't get it. Surely that is just so off the charts that they would do that to me. It's a betrayal, it's evil, and it's incomprehensible. So, because Ukraine is dependent on US support ongoingly, this set of pathologies of mistrust, which of course cannot be dismissed, they need to be respected and taken seriously. Otherwise you'll be engaging with what you would rationally like your citizens to feel and think, not what they actually feel and think. Here is what I would have added. I wrote this down in about 2 minutes flat, so it's poor and it needs to be cut down by about 40%. But here is what I would have had Zelensky say, knowing the context we've just shared about patterns of distrust and democratic decline in the United States. Americans, I want to speak to you from the heart, and I'd be honored if you heard me. I know that I am asking your government to ask a lot of you. And I know that you don't know who I am and you have no reason to trust me. And I know that you, not me, not my people, has to be the priority of your government. But I think this is about you and me and about us in a way together. And there are 3 reasons why I think that. Reason 1, boom. Reason 2, boom. Reason 3. I know that just because we've spoken doesn't mean I've persuaded you. But I wanted to ask from you the honor of addressing you directly. And if you've given me your time and consideration, I'm really grateful. I wish you a happy Christmas. You're going to be in my thoughts, because I know that things haven't been easy for you as well. Thank you. Lots of love, and talk very soon.